everybody. This month we're going to be talking about spring vegetables, and as our thoughts turn to early spring, we're always looking for those farmers markets to get opened up and those roadside stands to open up again. So we're going to take a look at some of the spring vegetables that you can find at the markets, but also I found some interesting ones that I just thought I might want to share with you. So the first one that we're going to talk about is artichokes. Now granted, this little baby right here, that is not the most common of spring vegetables, and it's not a food that most of us eat on a routine basis. I know personally, the first time I had an artichoke is after I got married, and my mother-in-law makes stuffed artichokes, and they're delicious, but never had an artichoke till my mother-in-law made me one. But an artichoke is actually a thistle. So if this thing was not picked, it would actually turn into a big purple flower thistle if it wasn't picked about that size. It originated in the Mediterranean, and this vegetable is very high in fiber. Almost 25% of your requirements for fiber can be met with eating one artichoke. It's also loaded with a lot of vitamins and minerals. Basically anything that grows in the ground is going to be loaded with the minerals, but this one is exceptionally high. Every artichoke is about 60 calories if you eat just the artichoke. Typically the way artichokes are prepared, the calorie level goes up depending how it's prepared. It can be very time consuming to prepare, and it's interesting to eat. So you can steam them, boil them, roast them, or saute them, or as I like them best, stuffed. And in order to stuff an artichoke, you have to open it up pretty far, you have to rinse it out, you have to cut off the leaves, you pull it out, you stuff it with all kinds of breadcrumbs and cheese and garlic and olive oil and set it down in a pot and cook it for about 4 hours. But they are delicious afterwards, but I can tell you everything that you just did to that artichoke probably added quite a bit of calories to it. But it's delicious, it's a special occasion type of vegetable. These are sold from February towards June, and they are best in April and May. Asparagus. I didn't bring any asparagus with me. It was in my refrigerator, and my husband prepared it for dinner last night. So I don't have any asparagus to show you, but I think we all know what that looks like. And asparagus is actually a flowering plant that what we eat are the little shoots that come up. We eat those in the spring when they're real small and fresh. Asparagus originated in Europe and Western Asia. It's very low in calories. It's also a good source of fiber. And again, like an artichoke, it's full of vitamins and minerals. Asparagus can be steamed, roasted, grilled, stir-fried, pickled, sauteed, added to soups and stews. You can use asparagus in a wide variety of ways. I did go shopping looking for some white asparagus to bring in and show you. And white asparagus is grown exactly like green asparagus, except it is constantly covered over by soil, the farmers. They never expose it to sunlight, so therefore there's no photosynthesis, so it never turns green. So white asparagus is just green asparagus that was grown underground. It was never able to see the sunlight. White asparagus is more expensive than green just because of it costs more to grow it and it costs more to harvest it, because then they actually have to dig it up to harvest it as opposed to just cutting it like regular asparagus. I'm sure you're going to see quite a bit of asparagus on our menu this spring, as it's sold February through June, and again, it's most popular in April and May. Carrots. So much for boring carrots. We have interesting carrots here. So carrots come in a variety of colors, and they range from the white to a yellow, the orange. I don't have a red one, but I do have a purple one here. I have 2 different shades of purple carrots. The difference in color is due to the difference in pigment, but there is really not much difference in taste or texture. Alex and I actually cut open this purple carrot. I don't know if you can see in the middle, but there's a little bit of white in the middle, and then the rest is purple. But when we tasted it, it tasted, at least to me, just like an orange carrot. They're highly nutritious. They're a very good source of beta-carotene and vitamin K. You often hear people say about eating carrots for your eyesight, and that's for the vitamin K, along with vitamin A and B. They're a very good source of fiber. Over here on our side of the world, we usually see the orange and the yellow carrots, but over in the eastern, like over in Asia, you often do see the purple and the red carrots. And there's actually even a black carrot, but I couldn't find one of those for you. You can eat them raw or cooked, and carrots, even though they're considered a spring vegetable, you can find them year round, no matter where you go. All right, this next one, this bulby looking thing, this fennel is a flowering plant. So if you hadn't picked this, this would eventually have little yellow flowers at the top. Fennel is a flowering plant that is part of the carrot family, but unlike carrots, it doesn't grow underground. The fennel bulb grows above the ground. It's found in the Mediterranean, and it has a mild licorice-like flavor. The seeds of the fennel seeds, you would think about when you're using to flavor sausages. So the fennel seeds are very potent licorice flavor. This is a more mild licorice flavor. It's a good source of vitamin C, vitamin K, and fiber. It's edible from the bulb all the way up here, but this part right here in the middle, these stalks, these are very fibrous. They, everything I read says they are not good to cook. So people will use these little fronds up here to maybe season some soups or stews, or maybe on top of a salad, and then chopping the bulb at the bottom, and then braising it or sauteing it, roasting it, grilling it. But again, you have to like the taste of licorice because it does have a mild taste of licorice. This is harvested October through May, and the market that I went to just had a huge selection of fennel. I'm gonna have to cook that, see what it tastes like. Leeks. So leeks, this is, I don't know. Leeks are a vegetable. They are part of the allium family, which is the same family as onions, garlic, chives, and shallots. And you can see this just looks like a gigantic green onion. It is a sweeter flavor than most onions though. Leeks are rich in antioxidants. They contain a little bit of vitamin K, vitamin A, but mostly a lot of different minerals, and they are also a very good source of fiber. You can eat these raw or cooked, but raw, they're really crunchy, a little bit tough to get through. So they're much better if they're cooked or sauteed. I often see leeks added to like a potato soup. So you get the leek in potato soup, or a leek in asparagus soup, and it gives that mild onion flavor to the soup. And you can also saute it. Tonight I'm gonna try this in a risotto. I'm gonna try it and see how that works. Leeks are best in the spring right now, and then again in the fall. Next on our list are peas. So there's three actual different kinds of peas. There's the regular peas that you would typically think of that are shelled, that you buy frozen, sometimes canned. In the spring you can buy peas before they're shelled. Then you have these little peas, and then these peas in between. So we'll talk about each of those. So the regular peas are technically not a vegetable. They are actually part of the legume family, and that's the same family like lentils, chickpeas, peanuts, and beans. So they're seeds within a pod, but the pod itself is tough. You can't eat it. You actually have to shell the peas. They're high in carbohydrates, and they actually have a nutrition profile that's closer to like a potato or corn than these vegetables. These vegetables all tend to be very low calorie, not starchy at all, but your regular peas are more like a potato or corn. Your green peas that you can buy at the grocery store, they're typically green, but you can also get yellow peas, black-eyed peas, and you can even find purple peas. A half a cup of peas is about 60 calories, where you'd probably have to eat about 4 leeks to get 60 calories. So peas are a more calorie-dense food, and they also have a little bit of protein in them. They're actually higher in protein than most vegetables, and that's because they are legumes. They come fresh, March through May, but most people buy peas frozen, canned, or even dried. Now, snow peas and sugar snap peas, these have a different nutrient profile than those regular peas. These are low in carbohydrate when compared to regular peas. The snow peas are these little flatter peas, and you can see that the little peas inside are very immature, little tiny peas. These typically you saute, you can eat them raw. You see these in a lot of Chinese or Asian cooking. These are sugar snap peas, so their pods are thicker when you compare the two, but these pods are edible. They recommend that you pull off. These are so tender you don't even have to, but sometimes there's a little string that you can pull off. Or if you don't like to eat the pod, they're easy to snap open, but you can see that the peas inside, I don't know if Alex can see those, but they're very small and immature peas. So these tend to be eaten raw as well, but you can cook either one, but they cook very quickly. So they really just need a quick saute or a quick heat up. If you microwave them, you'll find that they shrink into just about nothing. So very good little piece. Next one, our new potatoes. I actually grabbed something called fingerling potatoes, and I didn't take them out of the container there, but there's some new potatoes. There's some purple ones over here, and then the little ones. What makes potatoes, or what gives them the name new, is when they're harvested. So new potatoes are harvested about 8 to 10 weeks after they're planted, when they're still very small and tender.